Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne and I'm a law student from Australia. Hope you can hear me because I've just realised I don't have my headset on and I don't have anything plugged in, but I'm hoping that this is all working and everything is going fine. So hopefully it's, good. Hopefully you've had a good day. It is where you live. It is Friday night. I've just submitted another assignment. Hopefully now, I've got 2 more exams to do. So this week is just working and exams, and then I get a couple of weeks off, and hopefully I can reset myself and work out a schedule and get back into doing all the stuff that I love again, and trying to work out how I can fit my life all in, because I'd love to get back to planning again. I'd love to get back to doing my cash envelopes again. I'd love to get back into doing some research stuff on some really cool stuff that's happening in Australia. But at the moment, we're just really just seeing what's going on the streets of YouTube and everything. But as you may or may not know, if you've been, and I'm sorry for those of you that don't particularly have a thing for Katie Joy, but she has gone absolutely crazily obsessed. She really has her nose out of joint that that the series has gone ahead, and it seems to have been really quite successful without her. She has posted a lot of stuff that's been deleted. I mean, she'd said that somebody looked like that they were, dodgy. Well, she didn't use that word. She has, in my opinion, she has invalidated survivors. She has sort of said, questioned about survivors' stories and people who are on the series. You can't do that, in my opinion, when and yet proclaim to be some type of advocate, because an advocate would be just so excited that the story has gotten out. They wouldn't care who got it out or how it got out, the fact that it was out. So I'm just going to look at Instagram. I mean, this is also very similar to Facebook. I get a lot of Facebook alerts for some reason. I don't know why. But let's just have a look at this. All right. I'll just make this bigger here. All right. So we've got... Have a look, and then I'll take off this chat overlay just so that you can see all of these posts here. Look at that. 3, 6, 9. Sorry, if I take this one out. Hi, Christine. It would seem that way. As I said, I just don't know. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's 4. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So it's 22. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. And that's 6 days ago. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 48, Nearly 50 posts, well, that we know of, and who knows how many have been deleted. It's funny that she's got a whole thing here of, look at this. Oh, she's also changed. So look at this. I'd love to hear from survivors. Oh yes, is this where we're going to get ILP survivors? What do you think about the docu-series? And she's got here, they got some things right and some things wrong. She's only interviewed ex-AT. Okay. I didn't feel particularly thorough. What? It didn't feel particularly thorough, but I appreciated the spotlight they showed on it. It's about, I would have thought it was about getting it out there. It was a little funny to me to hear outsiders referring to it as so triggering. When it literally was just describing the normal way I grew up. Hello, Anna. Someone else says, it was very well done, accurate, worth a watch for sure. Hello, Anna, how are you? No survivor should tell her any. Oh, that's my fit for you. Yes, so someone else said it was accurate. I'm a survivor of another Arthurian cult. I found the program triggering. Oops, we went too far. Pretty realistic though. A few things were exaggerated. So good, but I want more. Binge watched it, went off sick. Nice to see Jill living her life. An interesting documentary. Oops. I grew up IFB, not APLB. So many similarities. A little triggering for me. Happy for Jill though. So many thought Jill and Derek were amazing, Amy and her husband. And then she says, so she's written, I've seen a lot of feedback like this, but personally felt they added context that was needed for the Duggar family side. I felt the show was very scattered and not at all thorough. Hello. Well, yeah, there's somebody that keeps saying they don't care about the documentary. She's talking about it a lot. I never realised how cringe the life I was born into was until I watched this. I left 17 years ago. So, I mean, it'd be very interesting to hear from people that lived that life and realise, and looking back. Well done, but not that deep. Good intro into the madness. So there's lots of positive comments here. Triggering, but it brought to light how abuse was normalised. Is there music? Video has pretty basic, actually. As Gothard IBLP survivor, I really appreciate the beautiful, brave survivors who shared on the Amazon doc, but the fact the directors chose to platform Jim Holt when they were warned from the beginning about him and had notice of his OFP before the docu-release, and no side note after it about their release disgusts me. They chose money and entertainment value over survivors, which is exactly what they were calling out TLC for doing on Josh's crimes. Hypocrites, they know better. So that's there again. She's put it there twice. I think it was great. My husband grew up in a Baptist church with many similarities. Well, it through half an episode we only made it through half an episode. The physical abuse was very triggering to him. Grew up Baptist cult with many similarities. Makes me excited about Jill's book. Of course she's mad she wasn't included because she's the expert on all things cult. I grew up AUB, very similar. It's a good start, but more needs to be done to protect those survivors. But my heart breaks. It was triggering. Only scratched the surface, but well done. Okay, so another one about it went too deep into some details while not shedding light on others. Again, only scratched the surface. Not part of this cult. Just wanted to say, well, Katie, it confirmed so much of what you've said. You were spot on. People in power will abuse. Very sad that people have to live through this. From friends who don't dare to speak up, it was much worse. Okay, it's a good start, but more needed. Watching it now. Sad that I contributed to this circus by watching. Very similar to my husband's, but the gaslight statements from the brothers and parents is okay. So that was. Oops. No, we don't need to know that one. So that was her stories. Now, if you actually have a look, she's actually had an article up here regarding 7M, right? She's now changed it to victims of IBLP. Victims of IBLP. Do you think this is her? So she's got here. I'd love to know if this is. I'd love to know though. Is this Katie? Do you think this is Katie? It says, have you? A group of abuse support survivors from the IBLP are seeking to bring legal and criminal actions against Bill Gothard and other leaders, staff in the IBLP. If you're interested in learning more, please see my link in bio. People organising are fully vetted. Experts helping are fully vetted and extremely well known. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what it is, but do you know if there is a statute of limitations? That's my only question. Is there a statute of limitations on which they can bring some of these things? That would be my only question, and I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy for people to say no, they can bring it up at any time or whatever. So this is the website here. Does have shiny happy people, recovering grace, medium. 3 former plaintiffs respond to the Basic Institute. So no, I'm not sure either, Christine. I think I'm Aussie too, Anna. So yeah. That's what I'm interested in. I know in Australia, certain crime, I think for some of those crimes, there would be. For some others, there aren't. So, Llama Girl has been a very great source of collecting some of the other stuff that's happened. She's broken down some of the videos, and she's got some she's got some of her she's broken down some of her YouTube videos and other stuff, but there's a whole pile of stuff, and I thought yeah, it's very interesting, but she has deleted a lot of stuff. This is one of the ones This is one of the ones that's been deleted, but is very, very dangerous. Have a look at this. This is the stuff. This is where, for me, she loses all her credibility and would make sure that I'd have nothing to do with her. Now, have a read of this. I'm not going to read it out loud because it's so crazy. But thank you to Llama Girl, and I'll shout her out again for this. So I hope you can read it. First of all, she accuses Katie Duggar's father of being a trafficker. So she says Katie didn't become a fundy until her dad trafficked her into the occult. So there's one. There's the first accusation. Okay. He trafficked her into the cult. Then he trafficked her into an arranged marriage. Now, there's nothing wrong with an arranged marriages. Many when I say there's nothing wrong with an arranged marriage, there are lots of cultures that have arranged marriages. Lots of cultures there are arranged marriages. It's rather common still. That doesn't mean that every arranged marriage is a trafficked marriage. It doesn't mean that every arranged marriage is bad. But they still occur. Now, again, where's the proof for that? And then, heaven forbid, she's had 2 children in less than 2 years. Well, that's the biggest crime. My mother had that too. She had 2 kids within 12 months. And then she says Jed Duggar is a, protector and helps his dad cover up crimes. Free Katie. Then she's put, these are my opinions. You can't say ultra defamatory stuff like that and say that they're my opinions. That does not give you or get you a get out of jail free card. You can't say all of these horrible things about someone and say, well, that's just my opinion. Oh dear. So this is exactly, Anna. She makes way too many assumptions. And there's lots of people, as I said, that aren't religious that do arranged marriages. So this is like, oh, there we go. So one of the things I noticed, she's been caught, oh yes, but she doesn't lie, remember, she doesn't lie. So she's got here, Jill Duggar claps back at criticism, family and fans over her involvement in the controversial docu-series about her family and the religious cult she grew up in. So, and the other thing is, she's since changed and got rid of that horrible green thing. This is, so she's just making video and video. Now, the other thing is she outed another source as well. The daughter of Holt spoke to her, and then when things went pear-shaped, KJ released released the conversations, and she didn't have permission to do so. Again, proving that you cannot do anything, because as soon as you start questioning her or upsetting her, she will absolutely let everything out. So to this blue background, I must say I do like the dark blue background better. So we've done that one. See with a So she's sharing text messages between her and Holt to prove she's spoken to him. But what all she's doing really is promoting the docu-series, really. So somebody on the Reddit, on the Douglas Reddit, were producers, and they did a question and answer, and so apparently they spent 8 person, and at a minimum, and so they were selected through pre-interviews, and reached out to many. Then they took it to their partners. So they did a lot of research before. Hey, Llama girl, how are you? I'm just using your Twitter page because I know you're the one with all the know-how. So thank you for that. So see, she went off at Survivors. She went off at Survivors. She's gone off at everybody that hasn't followed her narrative. So, yeah. I know. Oh, I should be thinking about bed. Do you think she's really made up with Amy? Well, I don't know whether she's really made up with Amy King. I really don't know. I don't know. The other thing is, here's what I know about. Well, I don't know much about documentaries, but what I've learnt from YouTube is that sometimes you'll film stuff. Now, they would have had this in post-production, and this would have been sitting done, ready to go for a few months now. And my issue is that she deleted one of the sites. Yes, I know from the show's comments. Yes, she did. That's no good at all. So it would have been sitting done. It would have been all stored, ready to go. To say that they could have put a disclaimer, they could have. But we don't know how much work it went into it. The other thing is, so it would have been finished months and months ago. Now, the other issue that I have with it is that, as far as I am aware, the stuff against Jim Holt are just allegations. So, yes, there have been documents filed. But who says just because documents have been filed doesn't mean that it's serious? Isn't she the one that says, anyone can file documents, but it doesn't make them true? So they probably also had a discussion, hello Heidi, as to what to do, because if they were to put a disclaimer there and it was proven to be false, there'd be ramifications there. Sometimes it's easier to do nothing than to head down that path. So I'm in two minds about it. But so I guess from when she alerted the documentary series, it would have already been sitting there, probably already had been done. Hello Heidi, how are you? Christine says anybody that corrects her gets deleted. Yeah, about right. So that's my thing about how I know it works, because of how it works. But they've got to be just very careful, because they're going down the legal aspect of it. And remember, and the other thing is, you interview people for all these hours at a time, and it's not until you're doing the post-production, you're putting it all together, there's sometimes that you realise that your documentary is going to take a certain point of view. bedtime heard that the dispute was between Jim and his 20-year-old son. That has been, wow. Yeah, see, as I said, I don't know. But remember, they're all allegations. Everything is alleged. Even a temporary restraining order are based on allegations. Yes, there is. That's why they have to go. That's why you go to court. Because otherwise, everyone is guilty before anything else happens. And it is, you know, and when you've got civil, it's on the balance of probabilities. Criminal is beyond reasonable doubt. So even the way the cases are handled are differently. And, you know, look at O.J. Simpson. Criminally, he wasn't guilty. Civilly, he was. And so and just because you're found guilty of doing something civilly still doesn't make you all of those things. But I guess the only good thing is, is that 7M is having a bit of a reprieve. This was another one here. So, and all she's really done, I guess, in some ways, is helped the documentary because people are watching to see what she's complaining about too. I mean, I only really watched it because she was carrying on about it. I've only watched 2 episodes. I haven't had time. So she says the divisiveness I'm seeing from the survivor community about the docuseries is heartbreaking. There is a nuance in everything. Nothing is ever good or bad. You can hold opposing views on something and still be friends and support one another. Division is what the IBLP wants. They want you to fight, stand together. But I've not seen any divisiveness in the only divisiveness I've seen is her divisiveness. So here, KJ must, look, she must spend a lot of money. I would hate to think how much money she would spend. So this is where she's outed Jim's daughter. And as I said, EKC People Sucks did a stream today, or would have been, where she had a conversation with Holtz's daughter who had said that she didn't give Katie permission. So she says, Jim Holtz's daughter, Kaylee, Josh's ex, tells me she married a sex offender. Jim Holt counselled him for 2 years. None of them reported him to the police. So now if you actually read that conversation, this is what the conversation says. I can't make it, I'll see if I can make it bigger, because what she's written there tells me, here is, so if you just read what she wrote down there, okay, if you read what she's read here, what she's written here, she outs them every single, she does, Llama Girl, you are correct, she outs them always, every single time. And again, this is thanks to Llama Girl too, by the way. Llama Girl is a legend. Okay, so this says Jim Holtz's daughter says she married, right? Whatever. So that, but if let's read what this says. I'll read to you what this says because this actually the actual conversation here that she shared is different. So she says, "Oh yes, when he was younger, he did his." Brother one time. He did get help. Both got professional counselling. My husband tells people often how the Lord saved him through that and how he had many people mentor him and his brother over the years to work through the damage that does. He never hid that. KJ goes, did he see a licensed counsellor? She says he did. KJ, not from a church. both boys, not from a church. She has her own practice. KJ, that's good. My husband actually recommended me to see her. Me and my little sisters have all gone to see her. I should say my sisters that no longer live at home. Now, where in that conversation does it say that Jim Holtz did the counselling? Where does it say? Where does it say that Jim Holtz did counselling? If you actually read the message itself, it says that he attended a counsellor, and it was a female counsellor, and it wasn't from a church. It was a professional counsellor. So how does seeing a counsellor, a professional counsellor, equate to Jim Holt counselling him for 2 years? Can someone explain this to me? How does she make 1 + 1 = 10? It doesn't. So she's gone to a licensed, they've gone to a licensed therapist. Somehow she's made it about this is why you just if there's anything that we learn from KJ is that you must read the fine print. You got to read the fine print. Don't read the big text. You got to read the fine print, because the fine print does not necessarily mean what she tells you it means. She may think she's done the translation, but sometimes her translation's wrong. So, yeah. I'm going to change the subject. Well, we've got Llama Girl on here, and I know that she's very much I know that she's been following the Prince Harry in court saga. I wanted to know, has anyone followed all of that? Prince Harry. So for those of you that don't know, that he sued the Mirror for apparently phone hacking or hacking details of confidentiality from way back, from when his mother was still alive. And he talks about he referred to his mother as somebody that has lots of boyfriends. And is trying to blame all of everything that everybody says about everything that everybody says about him or knew about him couldn't have come from palace sources. It had to have come from phone hacking. And hey, Llama Girl, there's some similarities, isn't there? Anyway, he was the first royal in 130 years to give evidence. Now, interestingly enough, people talked about, he wrote a statement. Now, people are questioning whether he actually wrote his statement, because he referred to his father as His Royal Highness, King Charles III. Now, everybody knows that when you are the monarch, you're His or Her Majesty. So his grandmother was Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Us commoners know that the King's official title is His Royal Highness, King Charles III. Sorry, His Majesty. Oops. His Majesty King Charles III. Sorry, I just fell into Harry's trap. But it went into a written documentation that he'd written the wrong title. He also referred to his mother as Princess Diana. She was actually Diana, Princess of Wales. Or she was technically Princess Charles. So they got all of the titles wrong. And the other interesting thing was is that he told the court that they could refer to him as His Royal Highness. Now, I thought that he gave up his title. So that's what I thought anyway. But yes, it is. It has been. There's too many train wrecks on YouTube at the moment, because then you've got Michelle, who I'm still surprised that she's still in her house. So I'm just not keeping up with it. Oh dear. So he's obviously now gone back. Oh, what about the fact he didn't turn up to court the first day because he was celebrating his daughter's birthday? Oh, who else that we know that has lots of allegations without any proof, Christine? Who else likes to drop lots of stuff around? Hello? There's lots of similarities between Harry and Katie, actually. The other thing that EKC showed on a video was an interview that Matt Bayer did with Sherelle's World about Katie Joy, and I didn't realise it was a few years old, because I could have sworn that was so recent, because he summed her up perfectly. Yeah. Well, Llama Girl, I hope God saves the king, because could you imagine if something happened and we get the fifth in line to the throne? Could you imagine that? God needs to save the king and the Prince of Wales. Oh, and the Georgie. But I'm just thinking that it must really, really annoy the American royals that William and Kate are the Prince and Princess of Wales, and that they are so popular. And they just at the moment they just can't seem to do any wrong. That's why we've got to Llama Girl, that's why we've got to keep saying God save the king. Oh. Oh yes, Gooch. Gooch has got this is what I was looking for. This Gooch. Return of Gooch. They are on Instagram and Twitter. 9 times out of 10. Let's have a look at this. This is about. I know we're going all over the place. Sometimes that's how my mind works. I have to say things when I think of them, otherwise I'll forget. And I'll go, gee, why didn't I say that? She has been unusually quiet. Is it because she doesn't support him, or is he the puppet and she's the puppet master? Now, this as Jed and Katie are so betrayed by Jill Duggar speaking out against the family. We're done with Jill. Now, this is what she's written. What is creepy Jed hiding, and why protect? Now, as she knows, there's a member in her husband's family that was the same thing. They will. Let me go. I mean, that's a horrible accusation. I mean, yeah. 9 times out of 10. So someone says, and then she says, this response is very bizarre. Too brainwashed. It's his older brother. Feels Jill betrayed his family by protecting herself. Llama Girl, she's deleted a lot of them. But the internet, actually, I was just doing a sports law assignment on misconduct via social media. And one of the things that came up in a court case, whereas a judge said, the internet is forever. What you write could be used against you. This response is very bizarre and feels victim shaming. I bet he's hiding something bigger. Why would you say that, is my question. Why? So stop pretending while it's ending. His daddy said Jill was dangerous, and therefore he thinks Jill is dangerous. I start defending and protect myself from any more abuse. Look at that one. This is how the other thing is that there was another case where an athlete shared a post that defamed somebody, and they were told that they could be held responsible. They could be held responsible for it. So, yeah. So let's go back to this one. The friendship was fictitious. I could you be so malicious. Yeah. I feel like he's like his father and wants attention for the God. How do these people get to these? How do you draw these conclusions? Because this is a guy that from what I can work out, hasn't spent a lot of time on social media. And his last post was about the baby. I've got a good excuse. You're just a waste of time to me, kid. Thinks is ruining his political chances and he doesn't want to anger. You're a waste of time and air and space, and I've been wasting time on you, kid. Are these things making you really angry? There isn't any time left I can waste. These are all things that she said in the past, in my opinion. Oh, your masquerade. It's pretty played. Who knows, but his attempted charm is unnerving. Now, don't forget that her brother-in-law was a convicted, as well. So if she's going to post the birds of the feather flock together, does that mean that her husband, just saying, as a professional celebrity journalist, you cannot say you get the vibe. No, that you can't put the vibe. But what does one look like? I miss her crazy drunken. I know the crazy drunken man lives are funny. Now I'm afraid. And knows where he comes, where he's.
I've never been a quitter, now it's something to consider. Just consider me somebody from your past. The only thing that satisfies not the time I wasted time, but when I stopped, that's when the time ran out so fast. You're just a waste of time to me, Katie. And
Look at that comment. Isn't that gross?
you're a waste of time and air and space. And I've been wasting time on you, Katie.
Oh, I haven't seen any of this. No. So now. No way.
There isn't any time left I can waste. No way.
Christine says, I'm not a fan of Duggar, but all that stuff she's claiming is none of our business. No, you're right. It's none of our business. Now, don't forget, she's put this on her page, okay? So... Again, who cares if she is pregnant with number 3 by the year by the end of the year? None of our... And it says about them sleeping in bunks. So this person says, Gooch says that she added the laughter. He and Katie sleep in bunk beds. Christine, Lama Girl, she always has a problem with women having more than one child. Christine says, I wish one of the Duggars would send her a cease and desist. I do too.
You're just a waste of time to me, Katie. And you're a waste of time.
That submissive woman, he's nothing. His sister is a threat to him and the people he wants to control.
I'm in air and space, and I've been wasting time on you, Katie. There isn't any time left I can waste.
Now, somebody, here is the implication that he was watching the same stuff. Seriously, this is dangerous. Because his father supports his family. Without daddy, he would have to get a job. We are done with you. Jill's a class act in the family and you are not worthy of it. So there you go. I was disgusted the other day when I saw that too. I have to say, it was pretty... KJ can't talk. She hasn't slept with Toad for over 3 years and prefers to sleep in the bed with the most 11-year-old. Yes. But is that why she's so angry and bitter about people that are actually in loving relationships, or people that are doing the horizontal tango? Because she's not. And why is it when she talks about, she always talks about the same subject when it comes to it? She's just fascinated with the uteruses of them all, of all the women. So, yeah. So, that's my little 2 cents worth at the moment, but I just... Kristen says, I'm not sure, but she's obsessed with talking about and describing any sort of abuse. And Lama Girl says, yes, I think so. There has to be a reason why she's so jealous of any woman that's happy, any woman that's in a loving relationship, because she just doesn't seem, and she's obsessed with CSAM. Yes, why? And I'll go back to what I said at the start of the day. Surely if you were an advocate and you've got a really small platform, because let's face it, compared to Amazon, she's like a pin drop. And so this big conglomerate which can access millions and millions of people, you know, hundreds of millions of people that will watch this, hundreds of people that will watch it, wouldn't you as an advocate be really celebrating the fact that people were finding out about it and people were questioning it and people were finding out about it, people were investigating and looking into it, rather than sitting there and talking about how you weren't in it and why you weren't in it? I wasn't in it either. They didn't ask me. But hey, you know, lots of us weren't in there. You know? So, you know, let's just be honest here. You know, we can all say we weren't in the documentary. She again was slamming the series in her videos last night. Wow. She alienates everyone around her. Oh, of course. So this is some more of what she had to say. So this is some more about what she said about Katie Duggar. And it was, these are my, and then she's put down, these are my opinions. But then she riles up, see, she also riles up her supporters, knowing that they're going to go after, so that was, so it became edited, see, so she said, then she's had 2 kids in less than 2 years, free Katie. And then this is the comparison here. Katie Duggar did become a fundie until her dad brainwashed her into this cult. Then he arranged her into a marriage to Jed Duggar. Katie Duggar didn't become a fundie until her dad trafficked her into this cult. Then he trafficked her into an arranged marriage to Jed Duggar. Yeah. See, Llama Girl has just said yes. She edited that one because of, you know, see, as I said, Llama Girl's the all-knowing. Yeah. Oh, but anyway. So let's go back to see what. I haven't watched anything that she's put out for a little while. We might just before I'm going to wrap this up shortly because this has been a little bit about nothing. Oh, I just want to show you. I'm going to show you something in a minute. Now I have an uncle and aunt. Just before we go on to Katie, I had uncle and aunt serious car accident the other night. A car didn't give way and rammed them. They live in country Victoria, so on the border actually, on the border, and yeah, so they live on the border, and she's only going to get worse. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I want to show you this picture. This was their car. Now they're still in hospital. He's still in intensive care. She's in a different hospital. I don't know why they were sent to we don't know why they were sent to different hospitals. So, but let me just get this. Let me just show you this. This was their car. Have a look at that. They survived. But that is their car. Now, he was so you've got to remember, for those of you that are overseas, the passenger sits on the side of the car, the driver sits on the right side of the car. So the side that got the worst amount of damage was the passenger, which was my uncle. You can see the airbags are there as well. So the driver's side's on the right, the passenger's on the left. So they're both still in hospital. They're still receiving a lot of pain relief at the moment. As I said, my uncle's popped the brunt of it. Still is intensive care. So we're very, very, very grateful that they're surviving. I mean, my uncle has got a very long recovery time still. Yes, we have the same as the UK, Llama Girl, and so we also drive on the left side of the road. I was going to say we drive on the correct side of the road, left. So yeah. So that's been a very interesting. But yeah, when you actually see the car, you see, and the other driver was charged, so they went through a giveaway sign. But the other driver's been charged. I don't know what they've been charged with, so they'll have to go through court and everything. But at the moment, they're both, you know, the Royal Melbourne Hospital said which is like, said, oh, we don't know why they both didn't come to the same hospital, but anyway, one's in one hospital, another one's in another hospital. They're both receiving good care. As I said, he's still in intensive care. He's breathing on his own now. They're just keeping him there because of the fact he's in so much pain that they really he just needs 24-hour care at the moment. So, which is good because before he was critical, but now he's he's stable. But they're hoping that maybe things going well, he may be able to go back, go onto the ward. All right. So let's have a look. Oh, yes. So let's go to Llama Girl. And she's got a clip here. So, and the great thing about Llama Girl is that she gives you a preview, a review of what you're going to watch. So this is what she's talking about. This is what Llama Girl is talking about, that she's given her advice on what Amazon producers should have done. Right, because, you know, she's...
that's so much so that, you know, the members...
Okay, so let me just make sure that this audio is working. Hopefully you can hear it. Just going to check it. Make sure that is going through. Yes, it looks like it is going through the correct channels. So I'll turn up the volume. Let's turn up the volume. All right, so let's see how we go here. And she's still doing voiceovers.
Contacted me yesterday or 2 days ago, and they were like, you know what bothers me about this?
She's very quiet, even for me.
Is that view at the end is really damaging for someone like...
Is there subtitles?
Me, because I'm a Christian, and it makes people seem like all Christians want these things. Like, that's how I felt. It felt really damaging for Christians that are in politics that are not like the IBLP. So everyone's going to start to like, is that person IBLP? Is this person IBLP? Are they trying to take over the government? Are you know, like, she felt like there was this level of like, it created a sense of panic that maybe didn't need to be there. Christian nationalism and Christian dominionism is a huge domestic problem. That's so much so that, you know, the Department of Justice is working to combat that, the terrorism that comes as a result of that. But not all people that are Christians are doing bad things. So I think, and they don't all represent the same worldview. She also said, now people are going to think that I hate gay people, and I don't like that. Like, I'm not an anti-gay person. I'm accepting of all people, no matter.
All right, see you, Christine. Oh, she's totally off the planet.
Who they are. I'm pro-choice. So I think it just depends on, like, where you're coming from. Like, some Christians that are more conservative thought it was an attack on them, and that they're trying to do things, and other Christians that were less conservative felt like they were getting lumped in with people that were extreme. You're never gonna...
That's what she does, though. She lumps everybody into the same boat.
To please everyone. I think if they would have kept other influencers out of that and not said this is the Joshua generation and confused it in that respect, I think people wouldn't have been left on that note.
Hang on, what's she talking about, influencers? Because if you're having trouble hearing, I apologise. It's very quiet, even for me.
Influencers out of that and not said this is the Joshua generation and confused it in that respect, I think people wouldn't have been left on that note. Everyone, I think if they would have kept other influencers out of that and not said this is the Joshua generation and confused it in that respect.
Oh, so she's saying that they shouldn't have spoken to the influencers. All right, so she's still bitter that they didn't speak to her.
Note. And I also think there's so much more they could have talked about instead of that. They didn't even go into the medical neglect or the, you know, years of abuse of his brother Steve, or Bill Gothard's, you know, the girl that he was going to marry, or the number of times he tried to get married. Like, he did try to get married. They didn't really talk about what happened.
The number of times Bill Gothard tried to get married, you know, that's just not something that's to do with religion. There are some people that get engaged multiple times before they find the one. Just saying.
And all the crimes that have happened, all the people that have been arrested. You know, there's been really big crimes associated with the IBLP. There was a guy that robbery and like they killed a family, and he grew up in the ATI. There are so many fathers that have been in prisons, sons. There was a guy that was big in the IBLP that was a musician that had CDs, and he was in prison for doing stuff like Josh did. There was a lot of angles they could have looked at with the amount of people arrested, and I think that would have been a more realistic take, is the amount of crimes and how the crimes are affecting things. Because again, to me, it's the criminal aspect and the damage they're causing to people that, to me, feels...
Ugh. Yeah, but you know, as I said, they may have wanted to go down one path, but when they started speaking to people, they realised they were going to go down another path. It's what happens in a documentary, because it's called a documentary. It's not scripted. But yeah. She really does. She can't handle the rejection, can she? That's a bit of isn't that a trait from borderline personality? Oh, HPD also. Okay, yeah. There's a couple of personality disorder. There's a lot of because one of the things that HPD does it too. Okay. Histrionic personality. Oh, I haven't looked at that one. Oh yeah. From this is from Health Direct, an Australian government thing, but I'm not saying she's got it. We're just putting it out there. But let's have a look. This constantly seeking attention, being uncomfortable in situations where they're not the center of attention. Oops. Displaying inappropriate, seductive, yeah, possibly. Being flirtatious, yeah. Manipulative, showing emotions that appear to be shallow and change rapidly, using physical appearance, speaking vaguely, displaying dramatic and theatrical behaviour, considering relationships more than they actually are. Yeah, so Amber Heard's got it, has she? Definitely an interesting thing. I mean, that would also explain her absolute behaviour over the SA and all of that sort of stuff. Oh, and BPD, yeah. But that definitely would explain all of that behaviour. Not that I'm saying that it's right or wrong, but it definitely would explain it. And then, of course, whenever there's an issue, she brings out the shield, which is her son, and she's done that today. And she's talked about the fact that he has this person that was his friend. I actually have to tell you that I read it. They make up stories. Yeah, I believe that. And it's always everyone else's fault. It's never their fault. That's the other thing. It's everybody else's fault. When I actually was reading the story that for her shield, her son's story today, I thought she was implying that her son had no friends, so everyone at the school was taking turns in having a friend. That's how I read it. How did she only learn on the very last day that he had a friend? Well, that was my question too. But when I read it, and I'll pull it up No, Miguel, I think you've got it on your I think you put it up there. Did you put it on your Twitter today? I can't. I've seen it. But my question was, actually, it's on her Instagram, isn't it? Is it? My question, yeah. So I want to see whether you've interpreted it the same as me. I read it as, actually, I've just realised the people that did that website that she's promoting on her Instagram now for the IBLP survivors have spelt shiny happy people wrong. Yeah, so let's have a look at this. I've got this from her Instagram. So I read this. I had to read it a couple of times. She says, my son graduated 3rd grade today. I'm so proud of everything he accomplished this year. And I think we need to congratulate him because, yes, that's excellent. The biggest accomplishment he made was he learned how to be a friend and how to have friends. So he's in 3rd grade and he didn't know that before. Through an amazing program, Circle of Friends, peers in his class volunteered to be his buddy for a week at a time. His classmates weren't obliged to do so, and so many volunteered. He made so many connections this past year. I read and interpreted that to mean that they sort of felt sorry for him, so they were his friend, which I don't think that's how it was supposed to be. And I think that how she's written it, I don't think is how it's supposed to come across, because it sounds like he has had no friends. And then she talks about one little boy that took it, and then she said, my heart leaped. I was so happy that he had this friend, but he's in 3rd grade. I mean, then she says, I called his mum, but I think she had to have edited that because she said, I called him. Lima Girl says that's how it sounds. Yes, it does sound like that. It does sound like a buddy program. So I know here a lot of, like, they have they get a buddy program, and the year 6s are friends with the first group of schools, and and so it usually happens early on in school. But one of the schools I work at have a buddy bench. And so the rule is, if somebody's lonely, they can sit on the buddy bench, and somebody has to go be their friend for that day. And that is that's what I'm sort of getting from this. But anyway. She says he has a big heart for people with disabilities because their neighbourhood child has disabilities as well. Does a 3rd grader know all about disabilities? Because I know I work with 3rd graders too. I teach 3rd graders. For them, kids are still kids. They still don't even care about skin color at that time. They're starting to get to that stage where they know that kids are different to them. Different kids are different to them. But the 3rd graders I teach still take everybody at face value. They don't see disabilities. They don't see... one of my 3rd graders has hearing aids. She's got cleft palate. And there's 3 or 4 other things on it. If you speak to her, she will tell you she doesn't have a disability. She's got an ability. But the word disability doesn't even come up. She's just another kid in the class. You know? The fact that they're saying, oh, he has a heart for kids with disability. They're just friends. The only way they would know about the disabilities is if a big thing had been made about it. It's the only way. Because other than that, they don't care. So, if I'm, you know, if he's got a friend, if that's how it is, I hope that really have good. I hope he enjoys. But the thing is, how much is he going to see this friend over the break? You know. So that was just my interpretation of that post. So, you know, I just read it like that. So, and I actually felt it was rather sad if that's her post, that kids at school have to befriend her son. That actually was very sad. I actually was sad more than anything for him. Because I don't think that he would have anybody around the house, anybody visit. He wouldn't be able to have anyone visit him. So, but look, if I'm happy to be wrong, but that's how I interpreted it. So I'm interested. At the end of her post is the friend's, or the friend's mum's gonna read it. I just thought it was rather sad, actually. I actually felt really sad after I read it, because I thought, this is really sad that your son in 3rd grade has just learnt how to, just either had his first friend or learnt to be a friend, or that people have had to be friends to your son. And I was just really sad. By the time 3rd grade had come, my kids had been to many different birthday parties, and they had some friends. They're still friends. My daughter's still friends with somebody that she met, you know, in 1st grade. So, as I said, I was just sad. I was just really sad when it happened. But when I read it, well, when the mum Googles it, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, imagine though, reading that post. And let's just say the post isn't correct. Let's just say it's all exaggerated, and that, or what about reading that and not having a conversation with her? So it's just very sad, in my opinion. Well, the other thing, maybe the boy, maybe the 3rd grader, because they're pretty proficient on Instagram, on social media. Maybe the boy will teach her son how to Google his mum. Could you imagine that? Finding out about stuff. It's going to happen one day. It's going to happen one day. Because while she can control what he looks at, allegedly can control what he can look at home, she won't be able to do that at school. So yeah, it's quite sad, actually, isn't it? Anyway, as I said, that's how I took it. I took it as being I took it as a sad post, because hello, autistic shield. Yeah, that was my interpretation of it. So if I've interpreted that post wrong, I'm happy for you to tell me, because I just went, you know, it's a bit sad that, you know, people have to be friends with your child. Absolutely. So, oh, imagine being on a fly on the wall on that. Imagine being the fly on the wall on that, in that conversation. So, yeah. And I know she said it was a personal post. It's funny. I have noticed, though, that she's put a lot of, in my opinion, and alleged. I think she has been spoken to, but there is you know, again, there's a fine line. Here's another very interesting story for you. Actually, I'll pull it up because I'm in two minds about it. So it's about a journalist. It's about a journalist, like a real journalist, who reported on a soccer game or football and got suspended from the league for misconduct, which I found to be very, very interesting. Let me explain. And so, like, as I said, I'm talking about a real journalist here. In Australia, we have the Australian Journalists Code of Conduct, and one of the things that they have to do is fair and balanced reporting. But anyway, let's have a look at this story, and I'll finish up after this. But let's have a discussion about this. So this journalist was fined $600, suspended from playing, because I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong. Okay, she's a journalist. She saw something in a soccer game. She was there for work. She saw something in a soccer game. She reported on the referee's conduct. Here is the sticking point, right? She also plays the game and is a registered player. The league actually charged her for bringing the game into disrepute. So here it says, so a newspaper journalist in Victoria's East has been suspended from her local soccer league and fined $600 for reporting on referee misbehaviour she says she observed at the match. So she reports for two newspapers, the Latrobe Valley Express and the Gippsland Times newspaper. Now, she also captains the Sale United in the women's division of the competition. In her report of a match hosted by Moe United against Sale United in the senior men's competition, she reported malfeasance from a linesman who she alleges was slandering the travelling team's players while also coaching the other side. Following the complaint of the article, the publication of the article, a complaint was lodged regarding her reporting. The complaint was then referred to an independent tribunal by the Latrobe Valley Soccer League for her conduct to be judged as a registered player. So remember, she's a registered player in the league, but she wasn't there to play, she was there to report. The tribunal found that she had breached the league's code of conduct and handed out a sanction which included a 5-match player suspension, a $600 personal fine and a 3-point deduction for the team. Following an appeal, so they appealed it, they removed the 3-point penalty from the club. Okay. The final report from the tribunal stated that although she was working in a professional capacity at the match, she was still subject to a player sanction. The player must be aware of perceived conflict of being affiliated with a registered club, and as such must adhere to the rules of competition, including the media policy and the code of conduct at all times. Sale United Football Club lodged a referee feedback form after the match on the basis of the claims of the misconduct seen by the reporter as well as another player. Now, the league president said that her claims of misconduct were found to be factually incorrect. This is not about freedom of the press or trying to silence the press, he said. At the end of the day, match officials are an intrinsic part of any community, and we will do whatever they need. We will do whatever they need to do to ensure they are safe and protected on or off the field. I have questions, by the way. He said he was disappointed Gippsland Times editor had not asked the league for comment before publication. One-sided journalism does not provide the full story. That's exacerbated by issues and exacerbated scuttlebutt actually around what occurred. Look, we wear different hats, I fully understand that, but we say sometimes we can reflect on people and there are consequences. So the football club was also charged at the tribunal for failure to control a player and was asked to issue an apology. So the Media Arts and Entertainments Alliance said that this was a complex context journalists in regional areas often face. They perform a central community function. They shouldn't be punished for doing their jobs. Often the only sporting club in town or the only business in town is the organisation they need to report on. There are obviously going to be increased dangers for journalists informing the communities when you've got this kind of pressure. Now, the editor supported the journalists throughout the process, and he was at the match in question and found the report was balanced and fair. It's a significant penalty, far too drastic in my view, he said. In a subsequent editorial for the paper, which he also edits, he wrote that the treatment of the journalists had the football club coach to compare, had led a local football coach to compare the situation to living in the Soviet Union. I think that might be a bit of an exaggeration. The decision has made a dangerous crossover between work and recreation, he wrote, and what precedents does this set? Now, so this is situations real journalists face themselves in. Now, under the code of conduct, the actual president does have a thing, because under the journalistic code of conduct, it says that, I was looking at Australia, so there is a general principles, okay, from the Australian Press Council, and this is what I've just done. This is all just appeared into my assignment. So this is the statement of general principles that the press generally follows, and the newspaper is part of the Press Council. So this is where there could be an argument. So fairness and balance. Ensure factual material is presented with reasonable fairness and balance, and that writers' expressions of opinions are not based on significant inaccurate factual material or omission of key facts. Ensure that where material refers adversely to a person, a fair opportunity is given for subsequent publication of a reply, if that is reasonably necessary to address a possible breach of general principle 3. So they're saying, where possible, give them the opportunity to respond. Now, the other thing is here, so you could get them on that. But my issue, or my question is, and it's not covered in the article, what happened to the umpire? Hey, Will, how are you? What happened to the umpire? So if he was coaching on the sidelines, isn't that a breach of integrity? And when the president says we'll do everything we can to protect them, does that mean that they can be dodgy umpires? It's a very interesting, and again, I don't think something like this has been tested. I think this would be like a whole new test case. Any ideas? I should have done this before I did my assignment. You could have all helped me finish off my assignment. How are you going, Will? So, have we had any further postings? No, we haven't, have we? Whoa, have a look at this. This is just appeared in my Insta feed. Wow. I'll try and make this as big as I can. This is I'm going to assume that this person did not pass their test. Let's have a look at this. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Have a watch of this. Do you reckon they passed? I don't think they passed their test. That's one way to get rid of the poll. All right. So to finish up our Katie Joy stuff, let's just have a look at this. Because she likes to share private messages. She likes to share private messages. The poll just, that's right, Will. The poll just jumped out of nowhere. Who knew? I didn't know the poll was going to be there. Now, see, in Australia, you could literally use and say the kangaroo jumped out in front of me because that's what they do. But yeah, the poll. So somebody's sent her a message. A few of my sources are getting a little irritated that haters or Duggar sympathisers are claiming they don't exist. One of the biggest lies is that I get all my intel from Reddit. This is false. She's blocked, isn't she? The source in this message I have been in contact with for almost 2 years, and they are directly connected to the Duggars circle. They want people to know that those that know the Holts and victims of Jim Holt are upset by the lack of disclaimer about his ABUSE in the series. Theirs is real, and seeing Jim Holt in the series without a disclaimer has been extremely triggering for them. I did say why I thought there may have not been a trigger warning. I have interviewed Caleb Williams. I also provide a disclaimer to my audience before and after any time I discuss him about his criminal charges related to the... here's the other thing. He was charged and convicted of that crime. Jim Holt has not been charged or convicted of anything. There's just been papers put into court. Everything's still alleged. There is a little bit of a difference. Remember, everybody is innocent unless proven guilty by a court of law, not by Katie Joy. See, well, that's the other thing, Will. Since when does she do trigger warnings? I will never allow anyone to use my platform to further harm their victim. But you did! You had somebody on there. When I interviewed him, I refused to allow any discussion about his crimes because his victim was not there to defend anything he said. He was not allowed to spread any narratives about her or cause harm to her through me. That was my number one rule with him. But why would she be talking to him about it anyway? Why would you be re-traumatizing the victim? My sources are very real. Many of them are victims of the IBLP systems, survivors of SA physical, and have been gaslit and bullied by many within that system. Their choice to remain anonymous is their choice, and I never force anyone to publicly announce themselves. If they ever want to go on the record, some of them do. This source is fed up with the lies and just wants people to know they are a real person with real feelings, and they have an invested interest in helping to bring justice to people hurt by this cult. So why are they talking to her then, if they want to bring justice to the cult? Why haven't they spoken to the police? So, and then this is... And remember, she doesn't get her information from Reddit, but yet here she is with Reddit. On Reddit, producers answered why I wasn't involved in the docu-series. First off, I want to be clear. I do not care I wasn't in the series. That's why she's posted 50-odd posts in the last 6 days. My concern about Jim Holt and his involvement made it impossible for me to ethically involve myself. But sometimes you don't know who's in the series at the time when you're filming. This is what's not making sense. I didn't. Jim Holt made my life hell in a series of events. Jim Holt turned Amy and Deanna against me. Amy went on social media, typed it against me, calling me a liar. So it's Jim Holt that's destroyed her. I thought it was Tardy. I thought it was Todd Chrisley. I thought it was 7M. I thought it was the name starting with N that we can't talk about. I thought it was the people she took restraining orders out against. I thought it was all of them. But now she's saying it was Jim Holt all this time. It's been Jim Holt. I didn't share yet that Derek Dillard confronted me in January 2022 about claims that Amy told him about me. He wanted to know if I'd lied about specific things she told me and if I'd lied about areas in my coverage. I told him the answer was no, I had not lied. Suzanne did a great video about what being a docu... Oh, cool, I might have to watch that. Yeah. I had let producers know that Derek would be willing to speak to them. I was under the impression they had not signed any of the Doga kids at this point. Derek had recently given me his email and said I could share it with the producers. Knowing that Jim Holt set this in motion, turning Amy against me, and then Amy trying to turn Derek and Jill from speaking to me, I knew I would not be involved. I became aware of this by late 2022, which is why I pulled back. I knew I was not going to give up my sources. I also knew... Didn't they film it in 2021 though? When was it filmed? Being involved in something that would platform Jim Holt, which is why I tried so hard to show the producers the truth about him. I should have kept my mouth shut about... I went to producers with my concerns not consistent with the direction they wanted to go. See, it's about their direction, not about you. Should I've kept my mouth shut about Holt? I would not change that at all. I'd never cover up for abusers or ever keep quiet about abuse that I know about. Producers need to give Jill space to tell her story, and they found other survivors to share their stories. Yes, Katie, it wasn't about you. I moved on. Oh, well, yeah, right. And they moved on. This is never and has never been about not being in the series. I was okay with that. No, you're not. I am not okay with Jim Holt's involvement and the producers turning a blind eye to his abuse so that they could sell a story. And then someone says, Katie, but how come when Josh's trial going on, you were talking about the Holts in a positive way? Like, you made tons of videos talking about how they took the stand to go against the Duggars, but not once did you mention that they were horrible people themselves. Just confused as to why now you're saying you weren't featured in the documentary, and now it is public knowledge that Jim Holt has a restraining order in place by his wife. Why are you saying the Holts are horrible? Now, here we go. She says, I found out about this after the trial. I thought it was filmed late 2021. Nope. Then why did Jen from Fundy Friday confirm she filmed in December 2021? So this is the thing. My understanding is it was filmed in 2021. So anyway, I don't know, to be fair. You see, investigation doesn't mean does not. So she tried to do a FOIA request. So she said, Amazon Prime producers knew in April that a restraining order was granted against Holt. And my point again is, it would have been, so in April, in June, it would have been sitting in the list of things ready to go. And to give them the benefit of the doubt, I'm stating that, I'm saying that to have done that would have totally messed up the timeline for the docuseries. But as again, I'm just, you know, putting it out there. So So anyway, I'm based on that. Now I've had that rant again. You know, it was not a clear cut. It's not a clear cut. I mean, you would think she'd also know how, by editing her videos, that it's not just something that can be done very quickly. But anyway. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I just thought I'd come on and say hello. And I just want to, yeah, please make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. There are memberships if you want to support the channel. There's my PayPal in the thing and everything, you know. And don't forget to check out my shop. I've got some great new stuff in there. I'm about to add some really cool USBs. What are they? Because I'm into music. Where did I put it? I've got some music themed USBs. They got 64. They're 64. I don't know. Yeah, they're quite big. They're large ones. So they're music related ones. Woohoo! I've got another one here somewhere because I actually have to take 3 USBs with me for my exam in a couple of. She blames everyone, but oh yeah, here we go. Look at that one. I've got to take a whole heap of USBs because in my exam the other day the USB didn't work. The USB wasn't working, so I've got to take multiple ones. So anyway, so as I said, thank you for watching. Replay crew, make sure you say hello, and I will hopefully won't leave it so long before I come back again. But thank you to all my members. I'm hoping to do, my plan is, I'm on holidays in a couple of weeks to do a members only live for members, and that will be advertised. Yeah. Anyway, as I said, thank you everybody for joining me, and I will catch you again next time. Yeah, I hope you have a good day, night, whatever it is. So it's 11:20. Oh, it's nearly Saturday here. It's nearly Saturday. So in 35 minutes. Sorry, my brain just went blank. 35 minutes. It'll be Saturday morning, so it's 11:25 p.m. Hopefully that's correct. So until then, until next time,